Using a 3/4 inch socket, we're going to go ahead and remove the wheel. All right, we're going to use a 14mm socket and remove this bolt here and this bolt down here. Next, we're going to use a screwdriver and go ahead and pry that brake caliper off. Might have to work it a little bit, depending if it's rusty. I'm going to go ahead and use a hanger to go ahead and support that caliper. Go ahead and use a 21mm socket. We're going to remove this bolt here, and then there's one up top. Once we have those loose, we'll just go ahead and use a ratchet to go ahead and zip those off a little bit quicker. And once you get that bolt out, go ahead and do the same for the bottom one. Go ahead and remove the rotor, set that aside. I'm just going to go ahead and pop this sensor from the body. And I want to go ahead and press down on this tab. Go ahead and pull that connector apart. Once you get this disconnected, you can use a pry tool or whatever you have around. Pop these clips. Go ahead and remove the CV axle nut. I'm going to go ahead and loosen this bolt here. I'm going to come around to the other side. I'm going to loosen this bolt here, and then there's one up top. Right here, we're going to go ahead and loosen this bolt here. All right, just going to go ahead and remove these bolts almost all the way. I'm going to leave a few threads in at the very end. Do this for all three. Next, we want to go ahead and remove the wheel hub from the knuckle. Once you have the hub out a bit, you can now go ahead and remove these bolts the rest of the way. Do this for all three bolts. Just continue tapping on the hub, and this should pop off. Go ahead, line up your wheel hub, making sure that your ABS sensor was positioned in the same fashion as the original one. Line it up. And you want to take one of your wheel hub bolts. I'm going to start on the back side and just kind of feed that through the knuckle. And line it up and just try and get these started by hand. And go ahead and start snugging up those bolts. You want to do this crisscross a little bit. You don't want to go ahead and bottom this out because you're going to pull that hub in crooked. So once you get around to all three bolts, you want to go ahead and pull that wheel hub in all the way. Now I'm going to go ahead and torque these bolts down to 85 foot-pounds, starting with the front bolt, and then repeat for the other two. I'm going to go ahead and install the CV axle nut here. I'm just going to use our impact gun here just to snug up this nut. I'm going to install 3 lug nuts here. I'm going to go ahead and use a breaker bar and your torque wrench, and we're going to torque this to 100 foot-pounds. All right, we're going to go ahead and install the ABS speed sensor wire here. And go ahead and connect your harness. And hear it click into place. And then reinstall the button. There you go. Good, line up your rotor. Get that set on. Line up and install the caliper bracket. Go ahead and get a bolt. Line up and installed. Once you get that upper bolt started, go ahead and install the lower bolt. I'm going to go ahead and torque these bolts to 125 foot-pounds. Install the brake pad slides. I'm going to install the inboard brake pad and the outboard pad. Get an upper bolt started. Do the same for the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and snug up these bolts. I want to torque down the caliper bolts to 32 foot-pounds. Go ahead and get that wheel installed. Go ahead and snug these down. Torque range is 85 foot-pounds to 115. We're going to actually torque these to 100 foot-pounds. Do this in a crisscross pattern.